Welcome to the Maria Liberati Show, where food meets art, travel, and life. So Earth Day is coming up very shortly this month, the month of April, and we're going to be talking about Earth Day, and my special guest today is Justin West, he's actually the founder of a really interesting website called thrivelot.com. And if spring is making you think of planning out your garden or that special space in your backyard, you're going to want to hear what Justin has to say and the tips he's giving us for planning out that special space in your backyard. And I am going to share with you a special lunch frittata from my nonno grandfather that incorporates some of spring's special ingredients. So stay with me. Spring always reminds me of the good earth. If you're not familiar with it, it's an award-winning piece of literature penned by award-winning author and humanitarian Pearl S. Buck, and the true goodness of the earth, providing us with fresh zucchini and strawberries, asparagus, potatoes, and so much more of the earth's delicacies. And I wanted to share with you my my grandfather's favorite lunch frittata recipe. And this recipe is actually from my book, which won the Gourmand World Award. It is called The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, Holidays and Special Occasions. But I do have my other book that was just released. I just wanted to remind everyone it's The Basic Art of Italian Cooking Diaries, subtitled Seasons. And that is a special book that is all about, it's actually a diary about my life in Italy, where I started the basic art of Italian cooking and recipes that go with it. Anyway, let's get on to this recipe. So this is a lunch frittata. As I mentioned, it's from the Basic Art of Italian Cooking, Holidays and Special Occasions. And you can get this at marialiberati.com or artoflivingprimamedia.com, or really anywhere that you can get books online and offline. So this frittata calls for 2 potatoes peeled, sliced thickly, and pre-cooked, 6 medium eggs, fresh rosemary to taste, extra virgin olive oil, a pinch of salt. So you're going to cook the potatoes in boiling water until firm, not too soft, approximately 5 or 10 minutes. Drain and rinse under cool water. Peel and slice the potato into thick slices. Place 1 tablespoon of olive oil on a roasting pan. Place in the sliced potatoes. Sprinkle rosemary, a pinch of sea salt. Drizzle olive oil on top. Place under the broiler till golden brown. Remove and set aside. So you probably should be putting them in the broiler for at least 5 to 10 minutes, but be careful not to burn them. Break the eggs open and place in 1 bowl. Whisk with a fork till foamy. Place 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil in a saute pan and heat the olive oil. You're going to just warm the olive oil. Place in the whisked eggs, a pinch of rosemary, a pinch of salt, the potatoes that you had just broiled, and cook this frittata until the edges are firm. Now, if you are cooking the frittata in a pan that can be placed in the oven, you can also do a final browning by placing the frittata in the oven if you cook with, as mentioned, an oven-safe saute pan. Remove from the heat. Cool, slice, and eat, or take as a lunch to work or to a picnic. You can wrap each slice in parchment or plastic wrap and take away. Or you can make a scrumptious panino by drizzling sparingly olive oil on crusty Italian or French style roll or a crusty baguette. Place in a slice of the frittata to cover the bread. Wrap the panino in parchment paper. Take with you for a scrumptious meal on the go, or just eat it at home. And today I have a special guest, Justin West, who is the co-founder and CEO of ThriveLot, which it is just such a really nice concept. I love the whole idea. And I've always thought it makes sense to have edible, bushes and shrubs and things like that. So it's kind of twofold. But anyway, Justin, yes. So tell us how you got Thrive Lot started.
Thanks for having me, Maria. It's great to be here. And man, I think like any good thing, it just kind of came into being on its own over time.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
maybe I was able to be the channel for that. Really, this thing has been coming up my whole life. I grew up on a small farm, growing a lot of food. Was really involved as a kid in 4-H wildlife judging. So looking at land from the urban tenth of an acre to 1,000-acre watersheds and making management recommendations to improve biodiversity. And yeah, I guess around 2015, been an entrepreneur my whole career, and was looking for the next thing around 2015, and permaculture just kind of hit me in the face. It's this design science of
Uh-huh.
looking at the land, looking at the parameters of the land, the
Right.
topography and the sunlight and the soil and the way the water moves on the property, and then putting the right plant in the right place beside every other plant in the right place so that nature takes care of itself and so that it mimics a natural system. And then from that, a lot of those plants can be food producing. A lot of those
Mhm.
plants should be great for bees and birds, and especially when we use natives, will contribute to local biodiversity. And I said, well, there's got to be a way to create a business around this and to make more of this faster.
Yeah.
Right? I know somebody out there wants this too. And so we started experimenting, did a lot of research, and really just found that a lot of homeowners want a more lush, natural, abundant aesthetic.
Mhm.
And they care about pollinators and bees and wildlife, and they care about healthy food. And they understand that growing trees and shrubs and creating real soil is really good for the world, both for your own microclimate and retaining water and sequestering carbon and providing habitat, and it can improve your property value too. And so we found that a lot of homeowners were looking for what we call ecosystems and really struggling to get it. I mean, your traditional landscapers are either grass, right, or hardscapes, bricks and
Yes.
retaining walls.
Yes.
So we went out and found the folks locally, and it turns out there are folks everywhere that are either permaculture designers or regenerative designers and
Uh-huh.
have the ecosystems knowledge, but a lot of them struggle to put that knowledge to work. And so we give them a platform, a brand, a process, toolkit, and
Don't you
connect
think, I don't
customers.
want to interrupt you, but I was going to say, I think so. I think these guys know about all that stuff. It's just that the consumers aren't really that aware of that. So,
That's right.
they're only out there, okay, I'm looking for a hardscape to make it look good, but they're not realizing make it look good, have a nice like habitat for wildlife, for food,
Yes.
for all this stuff you can do. And that's probably why. So I love it that Thrive Lot is bringing that out to people. Hey, this is a great way and it is possible. So, but anyway, yes, that's what I was going to say. I think they can do it, but they're probably struggling to make a living doing it because nobody really realize, not a lot of people anyway, realize they can do that.
Well, absolutely. And there is, so if I wanted to do it myself, if I said, man, I would love to just have an abundance of food, or I would love
Huh?
to set up a natural ecosystem on my property, there is a big knowledge barrier. And there's a long, painful road
Wow.
of trial and error to get there,
Uh-huh.
right?
Oh, yes.
And the knowledge that's out there, I mean, even the master gardener certification, if I go out and get a master gardener certification, it still includes a lot of chemical pesticides and invasive species.
Oh, wow.
And so there's a lot,
Yes.
there's this kind of road full of paths and pitfalls to try to get to where
Yes.
I want to go. And but then there's people that have already gone down that road, right? And that have even been establishing ecosystems very often for nonprofit purposes or just as a
Right.
hobby, and keeping
Yes.
them alive and getting that trial and error experience.
Huh?
And what we've seen though is that it's one thing to know how to run a lawnmower and build a business, or know how to lay concrete and build a business. But the knowledge required of soil and different plant species and figuring out where to source them and putting them all together and keeping them alive and healthy without chemicals, that's such a huge amount of knowledge and such a huge amount of effort that it really makes it hard to be a person who both has all of that knowledge and grows a business to do that, right? And some people have done an incredible job with it, but there's
Right.
a lot more people with the knowledge that we try to help connect to customers, do business on a tool set that is free for them, and
Right.
yeah, try to grow this industry.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I just think it's so out there, and people just don't realize that they can, that they can do that. When you have bushes or shrubs, hey, do like rosemary or lavender or whatever,
Yes.
I mean, just something simple like that. Instead of just having decorative, you're
Yeah.
also having something that provides a good scent and also gives you lavender, rosemary to cook with. And,
Oh,
um,
absolutely.
but I mean, that's just a simple little tip. So can you tell, I mean, that was a simple little tip. So is there anything like simple that you can recommend for other than, we're going to tell people where to find Thrive Lot, but if somebody wants to just get started, what would you, any recommendations, a simple way to get started?
Yeah, I think you brought up an important point, and it's that beautiful bushes, beautiful landscaping, beautiful trees can also have other benefits, right? And there are thousands of, I kind of call them forgotten species of
Uh-huh.
plants everywhere that are native, that are edible, that are delicious,
Uh-huh.
and even that are perennial, that take very little work, even that are native, and that you don't find on grocery store shelves because they can't be,
No.
they're not grown in an industrial process.
Yes.
And you usually can't find them in your average nursery either,
Right. Right.
because they don't fit into the industrialized construction process. And
Uh-huh.
so I would say,
Yes.
if there's one tip, if there's one little thing to get started, it is seek out a native nursery,
Huh.
and try to find something, some interesting perennial, even if it's a blueberry bush, and learn about the soil that it needs, learn about the light that it needs, learn about the companion plants that you can put around it that will help improve its immune system, or help feed its soil, or help attract predatory insects that will keep pests off of it. And put in a blueberry bush. There are almost no even strict HOAs,
Huh.
that so long as your
Yes.
bush is the right size, isn't going
Exactly.
to say, oh, that has to be, some invasive ornamental plant,
Yes.
not
Yes.
blueberry bush.
Yes.
Now, the
Yes.
challenge, of course, is the soil, and so
Mm-hmm.
that's where everything has to start. A lot of people get discouraged. A lot of people say nothing will grow at my house, but it's
Uh-huh.
because they don't realize they're trying to grow on subsoil, and that pretty much every constructed space in the modern world, especially in America, construction starts by scraping off the topsoil.
Uh-huh.
And so all of the food for plants is gone, grow there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what most of your needs, like a Bradford pear, or like a zoysia grass, that's just going to stick in and grow like crazy. And when we develop the soil, we can grow some really cool things.
Wow, that's great. And native plants, so that is native to wherever you live, so that the plant will grow better, right, in that area. So it's just like, if you live in Massachusetts, you're not going to look to grow a banana plant. Probably that's not going to be native, but something that grows well in your area. So, and that will
That's right.
be as successful because it has all the conditions, right? The weather and everything fit. And that, I think that's great because that's a great way. And if it's native, you'll most likely be successful in growing that plant. And it kind of gives you the confidence to say, oh, hey, I was able to grow this. So now it's on to, something else. And what I did want to mention about the soil, there are some places that
Yes.
will analyze your soil that you can send samples, aren't there?
There are absolutely tools that you can use and analyze your soil. It's not always necessary. Our process starts with connecting people with the local expert who can typically look at the soil,
There
look at
you go.
whatever's growing there, and be able to understand pretty quickly what's going on. And truly, even with native plants, we have denatured so much of our suburban and urban soil
Yes. Uh-huh.
that
Yes,
we've got to start from that level now.
exactly.
Where we do want to always do a soil sample is in older homes that may have had lead-based paint.
Oh,
If
yeah.
we're going to be growing food, we definitely want to check for heavy metals toxicity. Any urban setting that may have had a commercial garage or some sort of
Yes.
manufacturing facility upstream.
Yes. 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 Yes.
We want to check for that, but in general, somebody that's used to working with the soil, that knows the area, will be able to take a look at your
Be able to
property.
tell.
Yep.
Yes. Oh, that's great. Well, I love this whole concept. So tell us where people can, and tell us it, like, so what if you're looking for what to make an edible garden, to make what, tell us, and also tell us where to find Thrive Lot. So who is the person that's going to be looking for Thrive Lot?
Yeah. So person looking for Thrive a lot is somebody that cares about health, cares about taking good care of their property, maybe even wants to improve their property value. Maybe they're sick of mowing. Maybe you want to see more birds or bees or butterflies, blooms, blueberries. It's kind of all across the spectrum, but what you can get at Thrive Lot are ecosystems. And so that means basically things that are grown without chemicals, things grown with a bias towards no-till if possible, that sort of thing, and things that are grown as much as possible in mimicking natural systems. And so we do vegetable gardens. We'll even do greenhouses. We do raised planter beds, but you really want to get, when you do a raised vegetable bed, if I love broccoli, I can go out, the traditional process. I love broccoli. I want broccoli. So I go out and I clear off whatever was there. And it's probably been cleared off hundreds of years before I got here, if it's like the average
Right.
neighborhood.
Yes.
But I clear out whatever's there, and I put in 20 broccoli plants, right? And nature fills niches. And what I've just done is I've just created this enormous amount of food for something, right? I want it to be food for me, but something else
Yes.
also eats it. And
Yes.
that thing is used to having predatory pressure, but now it's got this huge space of food. It eats and reproduces as quickly as possible to fill that niche. And so I've just created pests, right? And so now, oh my gosh, I've got to either be out here manually doing it, or I've got to apply some kind of chemical. So what we do is we try to mimic nature in creating a lot of biodiversity. And so we'll spread those 20 broccolis out with a lot of other different species of plants, 55 different species on our average project, on a third of an acre.
Right.
And so we'll spread those out. We'll put in a lot of native pollinator plants and perennial plants that are low maintenance, that are going to bloom at different times of the year. So they're attracting different predatory insects at different times of the year. And those predatory insects will help to keep the pests at bay. And that doesn't mean that in a natural ecosystem, some of your broccoli won't get eaten.
Exactly.
But
Yes.
it certainly means that you're going to have a better chance of growing an abundance of diverse foods, or just diverse plants, with a minimal amount of pest pressure and without having to use pests.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, that's great. But so it's thrivelot.com, is that right? Just
That
THRIVE lot.com. But I recommend for anybody, even if you're just thinking of and you're not sure, it's an really interesting site to look at, and it gives people an idea of what, they can do, and the services out there that you provide, and about the organization also. So I think it's definitely something people should just explore, even if you're not sure. It's worth it to take a visit to Thrive Lot.
I completely agree. Thank you, Maria. And yeah, thrivelot.com. The process, basically, you go to the website,
Right.
you fill in some information. You'll talk to one of our project advocates,
Uh-huh.
and they'll be your representative in helping put together the right local contractors to come out. And the first step is to take a look at your ecology, right? So we get your priorities, we get a budget, and then we look at the ecology. And within your priorities and budget, we'll determine what's possible in your space. And then
Uh-huh.
from that, we can go into design, or we can go into building it, we can go into creating it. We can go into helping you get the information that you need to source the things that you need to do it. And we're continually building a technology platform that
Uh-huh.
supports this process, so that it gets easier and easier for people to be able to say, well, I don't really know what I want, but I think I love blueberries, or I think I love birds.
Right. Yes.
And see their property, log in, and just get to taking the next step to get a little closer to your
Great.
vision
And
of
I
a.
was just going to say, this is also the perfect time of year if you're going to get started, right? Well, on the East Coast, I know it's a perfect time of year to get started, to get into everything. So, as we get
Yeah,
to
yeah,
spring.
and we like to say the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best
Yeah,
time is today, right?
today.
So
Yes. Yes,
and
that's
and
true.
and yeah, the process can get started, so long as there aren't feet of snow on the ground. We can start the ecological assessment. We can start design pretty much any time of the year, and there are certain times of the year, depending on where you are, that
Mhm.
it's going to be better to plant certain things. So
Right.
East Coast veggies are being started right now, especially in the Southeast.
Exactly.
But fall, late fall even, is typically the best time for your shrubs and your trees and those types of things.
That's great. Really interesting. So yes, Justin West from Thrive, co-founder and CEO of Thrive. CEO, is that right? Co-founder
That's
and
right.
yes,
Yeah.
thrivelot.com. So definitely take a visit. It's an interesting site to visit, especially if you want to grow your own veggies, to cook your own, make your own stuff. Really interesting idea. Great, Justin. Thank you so much. And hopefully we'll have you back in the future. Much success with
Thank,
Thrive Lot.
thank you, Maria. I appreciate you having me. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, you too. Thanks for listening to the Maria Liberati Show. Thanks to my producer, Britton Roselle, and this week's special guest, Justin West of Thrive Lot. And don't forget, look for my newest book, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking Diaries, subtitled Seasons. It's my culinary memoir, and lots of recipes, lots of stories from my diary when I spent time in Italy. And of course, you can also find The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking Holidays and Special Occasions, and The Basic Art of Italian Cooking Da Vinci Style at my website, marialiberati.com, on the publisher's website, artoflivingprimamedia.com, and anywhere books are sold. And you can find me at marialiberati.com, on Instagram at Maria Liberati, on Facebook at Chef Maria Liberati, on Pinterest at Maria Liberati, on Twitter at Maria Liberati, on LinkedIn at M Liberati, on my Roku channel, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking by Maria Liberati, on the Maria Liberati channel on YouTube, and my Vimeo channel, the Maria Liberati channel. And until next time, peace, love, and pasta.